I've been waiting for this week for so long. This is the last hurrah of the foggy Pisces energy. Now, we're still going to have the North Node in Pisces until July, but there is a lot moving into Aries this week. Almost everything will be in Aries. Almost. Lots of things. So, we start off the week with the moon in Pisces, last hurrah of the foggy energy. We have Mercury moving into Aries this week on the 14th. It is going to move over Neptune, similar to where Mars has been since it moved into Aries. So, again, last hurrah of the foggy energy. Anything moving over Neptune creates a very intense, heavy fog. And with Mercury, it's going to be kind of in our mental space. With Mars, it has been our energy levels this past week. And with this upcoming week, it's going to be feeling a little bit mentally spacey, depending on what's going on in your chart. But in general, that's going to be the energy. Kind of like I've been having a lot of conversations with friends lately of I can feel this coming in. I can feel all these ideas like right above my head. I can feel all this stuff. I can feel ideas. I can feel inspiration. I can feel creativity like in action. I can feel it, but it's not here yet to act on in the physical. And that is very much this energy that I'm speaking to and that we're all going to kind of be experiencing this week. But come the weekend, we have a Mercury, Mars, Saturn conjunction. Mars and Saturn are going to meet first, and then they will all kind of go conjunct at different times throughout the 19th and the 20th. But either way, we're going to be feeling all of that energy kind of all at once in Aries. And it's going to be a big wake-up call for a lot of us that are maybe holding on to things, habits, people that haven't been the best for us, that haven't been part of this new path, this new cycle, this new chapter we are beginning and have been beginning and are majorly entering into. This is also over the weekend and into next week when we're going to start to feel a lot of energetic shifts and momentum and forward movement. We're also going to begin Taurus season. So really it's kind of like the fog is lifting and the fog lifts and we see, oh my God, the flowers have been on the trees that we couldn't see. And like, it's really just the energy of, what is that song that's like, the rain has gone. It's like I see clearly now. I forget the song, but y'all know what I'm talking about. That is the major energy as we get into this week. It's like the energy progresses. Because also, did I already say this? The moon is going to move into Aries around the same time that Mercury moves into Aries. So there's going to be a lot in Aries. And we also next week, I mean, I'll talk more about this at the end of the video in next week's preview, but like get ready. You'll soon understand why you have been called to rest so much and take it easy because things are about to move very quickly, very rapidly. That those are the same words. But I just hope I'm emphasizing the importance and the intensity that we're all about to experience with the Saturn Mars Mercury conjunction in Aries on the 19th and 20th, and then Uranus moving into Gemini literally a few days later. Uranus moves back into Gemini April 25th. We've already experienced Uranus in Gemini. What was going on for you in July to September, I believe, of last year. In the area, you have Gemini in your chart, or if you have anything in mutable signs, early degree Sagittarius, Virgo, Pisces, or Gemini, what was going on for you in that part of your chart? Because that's going to begin again. For me, it's going to be on my chart ruler on my Venus. So, um, yeah, lots of change, lots of quick forward momentum with Aries, Gemini. Gemini is very rapid. kind of everything all at once energy, and Uranus is a chaotic planet. So it going from Taurus to Gemini is very viscerally different. Uranus and Gemini has been kind of like slow, buildy change. Not anymore. Not with us transitioning more fully than ever before into fire and air energy. It's when we're really going to start to feel this fire horse year that we are in that we haven't felt so much of just yet because of everything that's been in water and Pisces. And yeah, just this is the beginning. This is really the beginning of it because also Jupiter moves into Leo this summer and the North Node moves into Aquarius, and like it just it's building, and this is the start of it. So that is this week. Again, like really honor where you're at right now with needing rest or being exhausted or needing naps, needing nature time, needing alone time. Honor your rhythms, honor your flow, because you're going to soon understand why it all happened. It has been happening the way that it has very soon. So let's see, is there anything else I want to say? I believe we're also this week going to have Venus getting pretty close to Uranus before it moves into Gemini, but those are really major, more so next week energies. But yeah, these next 2 weeks of April, get ready. Hope you've been resting. Hope you've been able to take care of yourself and honor your rhythms and flows because um yeah, pretty soon there's not going to be much opportunity for it. So, that being said, is there anything else? No, let's get into the horoscopes. Let's just get into it. Let's get into it. Hi, Aries Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your subconscious. There could be some deeper things that you're processing internally at the start of the week, maybe getting intuitive hits around, ideas around, or just further kind of cleaning up your routines, your mental and physical health in order to really just kind of clear out some baggage or really close out a cycle of healing that has been a focus for quite some time. It's kind of this is the last hurrah of it. On Tuesday, there could be some sort of inspiration or motivation kind of suddenly coming through. Maybe a creative idea to take action on or to put out into the world. You could be really in hermit mode at the start of the week because of this, but I feel like, or spending more time in meditation or something. But it really brings in some ideas and kind of gets the creative juices flowing. Also on Tuesday, Mercury moves into Aries. So there is a sense of mental renewal. And again, from that, you could be getting new ideas creatively, feeling more inspired. But there could also be this sense of, okay, I can feel certain things, kind of what I was talking about at the beginning of the video. I can feel certain things coming in, but I don't necessarily know how it all fits together yet. I don't know kind of what to do about all this or how to structure it. Is a lot of the major energy as well. As we get into Wednesday, um, there's a sense of emotional renewal, but there's also a sense of kind of more fogginess. Again, this energy of you really have to trust your instincts and intuition, instincts for what to do and how to move forward and when. It was so important. I mean, I feel like a broken record saying this, but it really is just so important to trust your rhythms right now, moving forward with everything for what to do and when to do it and how to do it. There's also something Wednesday and into Thursday even that could come up majorly about healing within your identity, healing any wounds related to an old, outdated version of you, an old identity that you don't resonate with anymore. And it's kind of like you're shedding your skin in a major way that you maybe haven't been able to before, or something wasn't illuminated around it before. There could, on Thursday especially, be something maybe triggering from home or family that kind of brings up that emotionally, and kind of, again, triggers this old version of you to really get clarity on how you want to move forward around it. And then as we head into Friday, we have the new moon in Aries. So it is a very big time for you to set intentions and have a new beginning around your sense of self and your identity and moving forward, how you want to present yourself to the world and think of yourself as well. Later on Friday and into Saturday, the emotional focus shifts onto your money, to your possessions, your value, self-worth, food as well. So those things could be going through a reevaluation. More so on Friday, there could be something that feels emotionally challenging for you that kind of gives you clarity on what to change about your long-term goals or visions or relationship with social media or community or sharing your gifts, and kind of relates to money in some way. And there's maybe a sense of a breakthrough through, because of that challenge or conflict that comes up with that. Um, as we head into Sunday, big day on Sunday. I talked about this at the beginning of the video. It's the final day of Aries season. It's the Mars Mercury Saturn conjunction. I mean, this is really a wake-up call for you and for this new chapter. There could also be major kind of emotional breakthroughs with money or possessions, self-worth or values. That is kind of this sudden inspiration or sudden clarity. And again, this big wake-up call energy of, are you really doing this thing? And if so, like, let's go. Um, like it's time is how that feels as we end out the week. So that's your overall energy for the week ahead, Aries. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments. I'd love to hear from y'all on how accurate these are for you. So let me know in the comments and I'll see you next week. Whew. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your community, long-term goals, visions, how you're sharing your gifts, as well as social media. There might be some emotional clarity you receive about a direction related to those things in that area, on Monday, but there still also might be this sense of fogginess of kind of like, okay, well, I feel this, or I know I want to do this, but it's still not, you don't have all the pieces yet. And that energy is kind of clearing out and building as we get more into the week. Tuesday, we have the movement of Mercury into Aries finally in your area of subconscious. So there's a lot of like, you might really need to lean heavily on your spiritual practices at this time to kind of get clarity on things, or to really feel more just solid with what you're doing and feel more centered. Because I mean, there's so much focus on your mental health. There's so much focus on your subconscious, on kind of seeing the unseen and maybe sharing those gifts that you have, healing abilities or spiritual modalities with the world in a major way. If you have been stepping into something related to that, especially on Wednesday, there's this big kind of shift in momentum towards maybe clearing out something emotionally related to that, maybe any fears of stepping forward and doing this thing. There could be some major kind of residual wounds highlighted for you to really look at in this area of your chart and heal them so that you really step into this new chapter aligned and more, step into this new chapter with bravery and courage. Could be a really good time to just again focus on your mental health and focus on what your subconscious and your kind of yeah, what you need spiritually and energetically to move forward into this next chapter um with bravery and with courage and with confidence in what you're doing and how you're doing it. Thursday, though, there could be something emotionally challenging about what's coming up in your subconscious or your ability to focus on your inner world and kind of the demands of your day to day, or demands of like any close people close to you. There could be this sense of kind of feeling challenged with what's coming up emotionally in your inner world and what's also kind of demanded of you with the people around you, or things you have to do, kind of things you have to take care of. It's like you're pulled from your inner world to focus on responsibilities, even though you feel challenged in doing that. Friday, we have a new moon in Aries in your area of the subconscious. This is a big energy of new beginnings, setting new intentions to have this new relationship with your spiritual practices. I mean, this is very foggy energy in of itself. It's like hard for me to pick up on fully because this is deeply personal, but there is a lot that is just coming up of healing to focus on, maybe emotional wounds around a sense of self-identity. It's really like you're stepping into a whole new version of yourself around this time. And it kind of solidifies as the week progresses, and especially over the weekend. There's a big kind of sober moment, a sober clarity, sober wake up call as we end out the week. And later on Friday, there could be something, feeling like an emotional renewal, but also feeling like that challenges what's going on with career or your reputation. And again, there's a need for you to kind of remain centered and have things that help you to stay centered and grounded in this new version of you. Um, Saturday, that is kind of further called into question. There could be something maybe you're activated to speak out on or up about. And then as we end out the week on Sunday, there's that full moment of sober clarity or a wake up call with taking action on something or kind of putting yourself out there in different ways and new ways and rapidly kind of changing your perception of you and that changing how other people see you as well. It's kind of a lot of change all culminating at once. But I feel there's going to be this sense of forward movement and momentum and everything kind of clicking into place as we end out the week and get into next week, especially. So that is your week ahead, Taurus. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your career, on your reputation. There could be emotional clarity that comes in, or just this sense of feeling like something is building or something is emerging, even if you're not sure exactly what it is yet or how to talk about it. There is this sense of like, okay, kind of like deeper clarity emotionally than you have had before. And there might be this renewed sense of emotional drive towards what you're doing with career as well, or how you're moving forward in those creative endeavors that you've been stepping into. As we get further into the week here, especially Tuesday, there could be a sense of mentally maybe feeling a little bit frustrated because it's like what needs to change or what you are kind of stepping toward to change, but there's still this sense of things having to come together in a lot of ways as well. And again, I sound like a broken record. I've been saying this so much lately, but it's really like trust your intuition and trust your own timing for when to act, and how to act, because it's not going to be something you can plan. It's something that's like it comes when it comes, and you kind of have to like honor it in the moment when it comes, but you can't like expect it or predict. You can't predict when it's going to come or how it's going to come, right? And it's like that inspiration when it hits, take action on it. As it relates to what you're doing and how you're moving forward with career, there could be something on Tuesday again that comes up around that, with money as well. That kind of feels like there's opportunity for what's expanding in your money to be in harmony with your career and vice versa. So there's a lot of like positive things, but you can't predict any of them. They're kind of like miraculous and unexpected. Wednesday, there's this sense of a big emotional shift with how you're sharing your gifts, what you're doing long term or what you're wanting to do and step into long term. There's this sense of emotional drive towards your long term goals that have been changing, that you've been stepping towards related to community, social media. Again, how you're sharing your gifts or how you're stepping into that and being more disciplined with what you're doing moving forward. There's also this sense Wednesday and Thursday of emotional healing with that. Maybe there's some wounds that are uncomfortable that come up around how you've been showing up with community or to community to share your gifts. And there's maybe this sense of, okay, I kind of need to shift a little bit of this or shift a little bit of that to show up slightly differently than you have been, really embodied in this version of yourself in this new chapter before it like is fully around you, right? Does that make sense? So there's a sense of that on Wednesday and Thursday. There could be something though on Thursday that is challenging money a little bit. It could be maybe you have to reevaluate your goals as it relates to what you're doing, to feel more expanded or supported with money or finances in some way. Oh God, there's a lot in Aries. on on Thursday. And as we end out the week, there's so much in Aries. And it really is like as we build up to the new moon that we have on Friday in Aries, there's a big sense of illumination emotionally with fully purging and clearing out the wounds that just haven't been serving you to move forward with this new thing, and setting intentions towards what you're doing. Um, in this new version of you. Later on Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your subconscious, into your inner world. There may be some belief system work you have to do, or just some perception works, perspective, like seeing things differently. Again, looking at these limiting beliefs and kind of going within to see what else is there, maybe to shift at a subconscious level around what you're doing and how you're doing it. Like, what is really blocking you, or what is really holding you back from fully moving forward? Um, Saturday, that energy kind of continues as we get into there is some sort of inspiration maybe that could come in around money related to your subconscious, or it could be some embodiment more fully of self-worth and your value with what you're doing. Sunday, we have the last day of Aries season, and there could be a big sense of emotional breakthrough at an energetic level as well, and also a kind of wake up call moment with what you're doing, how you're doing it, about social media, community, your goals and vision long term for yourself. There's a kind of sober clarity moment that happens on Sunday, and it's like, okay, I can't hold myself back from this anymore. Like, here we go, is the energy as we end out the week. So that is your week ahead, Gemini. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your perspective. So there could be some further integration emotionally of kind of seeing your world differently, or maybe really getting in a groove, or feeling more in a groove with your spiritual practices, or things that really help you to see the world differently in a way that's beneficial to you, in a way that's helpful to you, maybe also fuels your creative inspiration. There's a lot of focus on that at the start of the week. And it feels like on Tuesday, there's a lot of harmonious momentum between what's going on with your perception and your perspective of life, as well as what's expanding about you. Maybe you're getting seen a lot more, or getting a lot more recognition than you're used to. And so there's this sense of having to kind of clean up your perception of yourself through all of that. Um, yeah, it feels like this kind of energy on Tuesday of unexpected magic or miracles coming in. There's also a shift in mental focus on Tuesday from your perspective to your career. Kind of like, okay, what am I practically doing to move forward with these things that I've realized I want to change? But there could still be this sense of not having all the answers yet. And Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your career, but there's still kind of this sense of fogginess around all of it. So really trust your instincts, really trust like what you're emotionally driven to take action on when you are, and trust, I've been saying this a lot, trust your rhythms, because it feels like things aren't super clear, even though there's maybe some momentum happening or building. There's still a sense of like, okay, I don't necessarily know just yet how it all comes together. Thursday, there could be some tension between what's going on emotionally in your career and what's expanding about you, and your identity, your sense of self. There's also on Thursday this big illumination of unhealed wounds within career or public image. And that's where we're going to have the new moon on Friday as well. So there's a sense of really these deeper wounds and triggers being illuminated so that you shift them and heal them for good, and kind of really fully step into this new version of you embodied, in what you're doing and how you're doing it moving forward with career and image. Friday, later on Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your long-term goals, vision, social media. There could be some friction or tension, conflict between that and what's changing about your inner world or your resources, or just kind of like vulnerability, maybe even like this sense of I don't know, feeling more sensitive, feeling more intuitively inclined later on Friday as well. And it kind of is challenging to navigate. As we head into the weekend, Saturday, there's a lot of emotional activation between what you're doing in community, social media, long-term goals, visions, and your sense of self. There's a lot that's kind of building in your career, and you might be getting more ideas or feeling more inspired as we get into the weekend, especially on Sunday. We have the last day of Aries season. We have a big thing happening in Aries in your area of career. So there is this sense of like, okay, now I know what to do. Here's how to move forward with it. Here's how to do it. Here's how to navigate it. There could be this sense of, I don't know why I'm doing this as well, or why I'm led to do this certain thing. But you know, take action on it and you will see why you were led to do it. This is the energy of major breakthroughs, um, of kind of innovations, of unexpected things happening from you just trusting your instincts and acting on them in the moment. So that's how we end out your week, Cancer. Very exciting. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your inner world. Also resources, debt, taxes, things of that nature, investments, vulnerability, spiritual intuition. There's a big emotional focus on where you're headed with that, and maybe some wrapping up things energetically with that area of your life that has been a focus for the last year and some change. Um, since January of last year, like what have you been stepping into in this area of your life? Maybe sexuality. There's some emotional focus on that at the start of the week and maybe some fog lifting in that area as well, as we get further into the week here. On Tuesday, there could be some sense of inspiration or just kind of further emotional healing with what's going on in your inner world and in your subconscious. You could be feeling more sensitive Tuesday, could be feeling more intuitive. You know, for some of you out there, maybe like you can read people's minds. That's very niche, but kind of the energy that this is giving. Also, Tuesday, your mental focus shifts from your inner world, from, you know, and you might not feel this till Wednesday because this happens later on Tuesday, but it shifts from your inner world and you start to feel this shift mentally into your kind of more external world, your external reality, your perception, your how you're viewing the world around you, your perspective, and kind of seeing things, maybe detaching from things in a way that you had struggled to before, especially Wednesday. And then later on Wednesday, there is a big sense of kind of emotional drive. You might be feeling called to take action on something, even if it's like it doesn't make sense to your mind at all, but there's something you're instinctively, intuitively led to do, and to take action on. And it might feel like, why am I doing this? But trust in what you're led to do when you're led to do it, because it's not gonna make sense to your mind. But there is this sense of like it's kind of what you're meant to be doing. And that is building all week. You're gonna be feeling that more and more as the week goes on. Thursday, there could be some emotional challenge between your perspective and what's shifting within your spiritual beliefs or practices, and feeling expanded in how you're taking care of your mental health and your inner world. It's kind of like something happens emotionally that feels challenging, that really kind of forces you to view life differently. Also, there's a lot of illumination of unhealed wounds or triggers as it relates to having a higher perspective of your life. And just really viewing things differently. It's kind of like the belief systems you've been operating from that have been just a part of who you are no longer ignorable, like the ones that you can't take with you into the new chapter that haven't been serving you, but in a major way they get illuminated so that you face them, so that you shift them. They don't keep operating in the background. And then we have the new moon on Friday in this area of your life, and there's further illumination of that. There's further kind of like, oh, okay, this is actually what this is, and this is how I want to move forward with it instead of how I have been unconsciously. That could propel you into some major shift within relationships or career. There is a sense of challenge between your emotional drive and career on later on Friday and what's going on with relationships or other people in your life. There's kind of this sense of needing to ground and center yourself in empowerment and worthiness and value, as opposed to letting other people determine that for you. There's this sense of, no, I'm not gonna let this get to me in this way, and I'm gonna transmute it. I'm gonna own it. Um, yeah, so that I decide what I do with it instead of other people deciding that for me. That feels like a big shift for you, Leo, as we end out the week. And especially Saturday, there's a lot of activation between emotional drive in career, and what's going on for you that's healing or expanding subconsciously in your mental health. Sunday is a big day. We end out the week with a pretty big day. It's the last day of Aries season in your area of perspective. And we have a pretty big thing going on in Aries as well in your area of perspective. So there's this big kind of wake up call, really begging to, an answer to the question, are you going to keep letting this get to you? Are you going to keep letting this repeat in the same way? Or are you gonna claim it, own it, take authority with bravery and courage around it and see it differently and kind of use it as a gift? There's a big sense from that, big potential from that that could positively impact your career and money as well, finances, relationships. Um, and then as we get later into Sunday, there's a sense of positive emotional transformation. So that's how we end out your week. Leo, let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your relationships. There could be something emotionally that you're feeling more clear about, a direction you want to head or step into with relationships, other people in your life. There's a big kind of sober clarity and wake up call building within your inner world, your resources, your psychic gifts, perhaps your shared resources, investments, vulnerability, intimacy. There's a lot building for you all week. And on Monday and Tuesday, the emotional focus is on relationships, and it's kind of setting the stage for this wake up call that happens in a deeper way. It's kind of like, how do you want to be known to people? How do you want to um, be seen to others? What do you need from others in your community? There is a lot of potential for support from people in your life to stepping into this major new thing on Tuesday. And it feels like you have a lot of supportive either conversations or just people reaching out, or um, maybe just feeling energetically a lot of support from others towards this thing. And also, there's a lot building, kind of setting the stage for a major emotional transformation related to like your inner world and kind of healing any witch wounds or a tendency to shy yourself away for fear of criticism. It's a lot of identity level change happening and building like all week for you, Virgo. Um, and on Wednesday, there's just so much in Aries. There's so much focus on this inner world of yours, on and how the way that that is structured for you at an identity level is impacting your finances, your money, your investments, your debt, your taxes, your relationship with all of that. And there's this big kind of wake up call moment where you have to bring in some more responsibility or just handling of this all differently. And you really can't ignore what's going on there for fear. Like it's like the window, if you've let the window be too dirty, you can't even see out of it, you've got to clean the window. And that takes bravery and that takes courage to really face these things and to really look at these things at a really deep psychological level. But in doing so, it transforms you and your approach to like everything else in your life, really. So there's a lot of opportunity this week for healing in that part of your chart, especially on Friday, but let's back up a little bit. Thursday, there could be some emotional tension between that, what's going on for you. Maybe you've been feeling like you need to have space to focus on your inner world, but there's this push to do you've been maybe busy. Maybe you're really busy and there's like a lot going on in your community or with social media, with long-term goals and visions, friendships. There's just a lot going on. And so you kind of feel emotionally challenged between your inner world and your outer world. Um, but I do feel like you're going to figure out how to navigate that in a way that feels good to you. And also there's a time and space and a place for everything, right? And Friday is really that energy of I'm fully stepping into this and claiming it. Really vowing to yourself to do things differently. And that's a big energy on Friday is setting intentions towards this new version of yourself as it relates to all of this that's been coming up and going on for you. But later on Friday, there could be some more emotional challenges between your perspective, could be begging you to kind of shift belief systems that maybe have been a little like subtle in how they show up for you related to this and what's going on with work. So there's some emotional tension or challenges, conflicts between your perspective and what's changing with that, and also what's changing about work or what's picking up with work or physical health. Could be an emotional release around that too later on Friday, perhaps. Saturday, there's a bit of a reprieve from everything that maybe has felt heavy or intense. There's a lot of activation between your perspective and friendship. So again, you could have helpful people that come in or that are around you, helping you to see things differently, to step into this new reality and version of what you're doing moving forward. And then as we end out the week on Sunday, there's really kind of a sober clarity wake up call with this embodiment lesson that you're facing. There could be this sudden kind of shift of perspective, breakthroughs, inspiration coming that lead to a positive change and transformation in work and career, as well as your inner world in a big way. This is kind of like this is big level change. So. That's the week ahead for you, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Mm. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your health, work, your day-to-day routines. There could be a sense of emotional clarity about a direction you're headed with that, maybe creative things or pursuits. There is this sense of emotionally getting more clarity or feeling more drive towards the direction you've been headed within that area of your life. Tuesday, it feels like there could be some random kind of miracles or things that come about with work and what's going on with health, work, as well as career, and feeling this kind of maybe creative inspiration or motivation towards something emotionally in work and career. This could maybe come through relationships. There's just such a focus on relationships for you this whole week, Libra, and moving forward the rest of the year. But especially these next couple weeks and months here, there's a lot of focus on relationships and maybe feeling really tested with people around you, with what's going on in relationships. And later on Tuesday, there's a sense of mentally feeling a shift from work and creative pursuits or endeavors and physical health as well to relationships. And you're all of a sudden a lot more emotionally and mentally focused on other people in your life. And Wednesday, that really solidifies, and there's maybe some emotionally challenging things that happen in relationships or with other people in your life on Wednesday. It doesn't feel so super comfortable, and it also kind of feels like you don't know yet what to do about all of this or how to piece it all together. There's kind of a sense of mental fogginess around this, and it's kind of like you just have to wait a little bit to get clarity on what's going on within your connections with other people. But there could be something I don't know, just watch your reactions. Just watch your reactions and kind of let the dust settle before you maybe act on something a little prematurely. On Thursday, there's a sense of emotional challenge between relationships and what's going on with career? What's kind of expanding in career? And it feels like there's a pull to relationships that maybe is challenging what's going on with career or your public image and what you've been building and expanding there. There's also a sense Wednesday and Thursday of illumination of wounds within relationships. And kind of like, are you going to approach this the way that you, again, being tested, are you going to approach this the way that old you would have? Or are you going to choose really fully to step into a new version of yourself as it relates to this? And that leads us to the new moon we have on Friday in Aries in your area of other people and relationships. There's a big sense of needing to set intentions and have some new beginning with the way that you approach relationships at an identity level. Kind of again, big themes of are you going to operate in this connection, whether it's romantic or not? This could be a friendship. This could be anyone in your life that's not you. Are you going to operate in it and with it from the old past version of yourself that maybe was enmeshed or maybe a codependent? Or are you going to kind of have sovereignty with how you handle this? Later on Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, your inner world, your psychological depth, and sense of transformation that could really challenge what's going on with creativity or dating, or passions, projects, things like that. There could be this sense of maybe feeling emotionally challenged with resources or money as it relates to what you want to do creatively. But there is something that you get clarity on what you want to change about both those areas to move forward in more harmony. As we get into Saturday, there's activation between shared resources, debt, taxes, investments. Again, your psychological kind of transformation that you've been experiencing and your career. So there could be a lot of creative breakthroughs coming, maybe just through reflection on Saturday and you feeling more creatively inspired to share in some way. As we head into Sunday, the end of the week, it's the last day of Aries season. There's kind of this wrapping up of what's going on with relationships and really healing at an identity level these old wounds or triggers within relationships. There's also a sense on Sunday of emotional change, and again breakthroughs, innovations as it relates to your inner world, and maybe money at a really kind of self-worth level embodiment and a big wake up call with relationships. Kind of like, are you going to keep moving in this direction, the way that you have, or does it need something else? Does it need another direction, or another approach altogether? And that kind of insight could lead you to really positive emotional breakthroughs and transformations, of your perspective and of your belief systems, maybe even of your creative inspiration, or with dating and relationships as a whole. Kind of like really vowing to not approach it or attract anything that you used to. It's a whole new chapter, whole new beginning, and really feeling that kind of cut of the cord and stepping into the new. So that is how we end out your week. Libra, let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your creative pursuits, passions, dating, romance, maybe children, as that applies as well. There's a big emotional focus on this area at the start of the week. Maybe getting more emotional clarity or feeling more emotionally driven towards moving in a new direction with this. But there's maybe not a sense of a whole lot of sense of mental clarity with it. Especially Tuesday, there's maybe the sense of feeling like you want to move forward or feeling like you want to do some things, but there's still not a full sense of clarity with them or how you want to go about them, especially as it relates to work, physical health, kind of like this day-to-day change and how you really integrate it and move forward with things at a kind of practical level. There's maybe a sense of like needing to restructure your schedule, but not feeling like you have all the pieces to put that together yet. Um, but there is also a sense on Tuesday of emotional harmony between what's going on creatively and your perspective, what's been expanding about that are your spiritual practices. There's a sense of maybe having helpful people around you as well, to give you clarity or kind of shift your focus from like trying to mental it into just like living your life and letting it come to you when it's meant to come to you. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into your work, your physical health, your area of routine and schedule. So there could be things you're emotionally driven to suddenly take action on or bring into your routine that, again, it's kind of like, okay, you maybe waited for the clarity to come and the clarity comes. And there's also a sense of wounds or triggers about work and health being illuminated for you to kind of fully shift them and move forward in this new phase of your life without those triggers or wounds ruling how you handle things at an identity level. Thursday, there could be some emotional challenge between work and health and what's expanding about your creativity. I didn't mean to say creativity, but your perception, your spiritual practices or beliefs. There's this sense of like, okay, if I want to move forward with this, I have to view this differently, right? And it's kind of, again, it's all coming together. And that leads us into Friday, which is the new moon in Aries in your area of physical health and work. And there's a sense of kind of needing to really get clear on what you want to, how you want to be moving forward in this next chapter and phase. That's different from who you were before. Also, later on Friday, there's emotional shift into your relationships. There could be something about a relationship or somebody in your life that feels challenging or kind of creates some conflict between what's going on with you, what's going on with relationships, what's going on with career, and also what's changing about your home. There could be this sense of just emotional challenge between a relationship or somebody in your life and your home or family. As we head into Friday, or I'm sorry, Saturday. That was Friday. Saturday, there's emotional activation between relationships and seeing things differently. There could be supportive people coming in that just help you to kind of see life differently and help you to solidify in these major changes that are building all week for you. And as we head into the end of the week on Sunday, there's a big wake up call with work. There's a big wake up call with physical health, with what you're doing with this new chapter, feeling more aligned with it, feeling more clear on how to go about it. There could be something suddenly that you get maybe an idea comes in through a conversation you have with someone, or somebody in your life helps you to see something differently that illuminates something that kind of propels you into an innovation of how you're doing this or how you're going about it. But this is the wake up call moment of like, are you really doing this or are you not? And you can't really not. So, time to do it. And that's how we end out your week, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your home and family. There could be something emotionally that you are focused on with home or with family that kind of releases something in career or kind of helps you to see something differently about career. There's also, as we head into Tuesday, a sense of emotional harmony between home and family and what's going on with your inner world. There could be this really supportive healing that happens for you Monday and Tuesday of like feeling this really big shift of your inner world and feeling more centered, even though maybe things around you aren't so centered feeling like or grounded feeling that even if there's chaos around you, it's kind of like you're remaining the eye of the storm. You're remaining centered in how you move through it and how you don't let it affect you maybe anymore. Um, And there's this sense of activation as we get into Wednesday between what's going on with home and family and what's going on with work. Could propel you to change something about work or could emotionally clear something that creates a change with physical health, if not work. Also on Tuesday, a mental focus your mental focus changes from home and family onto dating, romance, creativity. So there could be this sense of like feeling things building a lot more than you have with creative passions and pursuits, and feeling more mentally inspired to maybe act on some things with creative passions or projects. That continues into Wednesday as the emotional focus for you shifts into this area of your life. And there could be a lot more emotional drive towards creativity or dating or romance. There could be something you're really inspired to take action on that's like, okay, no more of this. I'm doing this instead, or I'm really moving forward with this, and I'm gonna be like, it requires a lot of bravery and courage to do whatever this is that you're led to do Wednesday, and even into Thursday, but it is something that's going to benefit you long term and also benefit what you're doing with work, benefit your psychological change and healing that you're experiencing, and maybe even money too. Like maybe you, I don't know, like choose to change how you're going about dating, romance, or creative passions, and it brings in more money for you. There's this big identity level healing that's happening for you Wednesday and Thursday. There's a lot illuminated around old wounds and identity level patterns that kind of come to a head of like, are you really gonna do this the way that you used to do this? Are you gonna choose to step into a new version of yourself that doesn't put up with this? Is kind of the energy. And that leads us into the new moon on Friday, where that is like the major emphasis of time to begin anew, time to leave the old patterns and identity of the past in the past and step into this new version of yourself. And you might even get a lot of creative inspiration through that or feel renewed with maybe your sexuality or like just what you're doing creatively because of that. Later on Friday, there is a shift in your emotional focus onto your work, your physical health, but it could challenge something that's changing about your communication or your kind of day to day or who you talk to that's close to you. There could be some sense of like work is kind of putting pressure on that or challenging that in some way. But it does force you to kind of evolve and get more clarity on how you want to structure your time and your day to day in a way that benefits this version of you that you're stepping into. As we head into Saturday, Saturday feels like a day of calibrating, kind of just realigning everything. There is activation between money, investments, and what's going on with work, or kind of even more solidifying and changes to your psychological um, well-being that support physical health shifts. And then as we head into Sunday, there's this sense of breakthroughs of like this kind of come to Jesus moment or this very sobering clarity around what you're doing with creative passions, pursuits, work, relationships, money. It kind of just all clicks into place on Sunday as we have the last day of Aries season, as we have there's just so much going on Sunday, and it kind of just all solidifies, and it's like, okay, here it is, and boom, 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 boom. Um, so that's how your week goes, Sagittarius. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your day to day, your communication, your belief systems. There could be something really big emotionally that you're clearing out as it relates to that and choosing to step into instead. You could be feeling really reflective, really creative or emotionally inspired at the start of the week. There's a sense of, on Tuesday especially, harmony between what ideas you're sharing and information you're putting out there, who you're talking to, where you're going, and relationships as a whole. So there could be a lot of supportive people you're surrounding yourself with on Tuesday that just feel more energetically aligned with what you're doing and where you're going, and all the changes that you're making. As we head into Wednesday, your mental focus shifts onto your home and your family. There, there's a lot of things that maybe you don't have figured out yet, or there's still questions around, right? And the energy is majorly, I feel like I've been saying this so much, but the energy is majorly like focus on what you can do in the moment, in the present moment, because there's also on Wednesday, there's this shift of like fogginess with home and family and what you're doing. There's also this sense of activation between creativity and creative inspiration um, on Wednesday. There might be some weird sleep things or weird dream things this week as well, maybe related to home or family or childhood healing or things like that. As we get into Thursday, the emotional focus is on your home and family, but it directly challenges what's going on with relationships. So again, there could be, I don't know, something that comes up that really emotionally doesn't sit well with you. That is kind of challenges a relationship, but it's kind of like, okay, how do I work with this? How do I evolve or grow from this? And there's a big illumination of childhood wounds or family wounds, wounds within your home or family related to just that whole area of your life, that are really being illuminated in a big way on Thursday as well. So there's this sense of, again, how do I navigate this? How do I not react from an old version of myself when this comes up? It's really like, how do I fully heal this and embody that healing in an identity level so it doesn't keep repeating or showing up in similar ways as it has. That leads us into the new moon on Friday, which is that same kind of energy. How do I set new beginnings with at an identity level that comes from a healed place as opposed to a wounded, reactive place? There's also this big sense of kind of sobering clarity related to home and family, maybe needing to set boundaries and like you just don't have a choice to act on something, or really, yeah, it's kind of like, are you going to do this or are you not? It's the energy that builds all weekend. Um, Later on Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your creative passions, dating, romance, inspiration, creative projects, and it directly challenges what's going on with money. So there could be this sense of like, okay, if I want to do this, if I want to take action on this, I have to transform something with money, possessions, or resources. Maybe even your how you view your value and your worth as well. But it does feel like that clarity around that builds all weekend. And there might be helpful people around you that support where you're going with that and the clarity you're receiving around that, to move forward on it in a new way. And as we end out the week on Sunday, there's just a big energy of breakthroughs, of emotional shifts, um, around money, relationships, values, and again, this moment of like, okay, are you doing this or are you not? Like as we end out the week, Sunday's a big day of really feeling like, okay, I have to do this. I like I have to really fully commit to this. Um, Even though it's scary or even though I don't know how it's going to work out or blah, 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 blah. You just have to do it is the energy as we end out the week and head into next week. So that is your week ahead, Capricorn. Let me know how it resonates with you in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your money, resources, or maybe are things at the start of the week you're clearing up in that area of your life, moving in a new direction around, getting more inspiration on what you're stepping into or creating to bring in more money or change your resources. There's a sense of, I don't know, there's a sense of you're having to move differently in this area, and in a lot of areas, and having to move in alignment with intuition as opposed to a plan or having it all figured out. It's like, no, No, it's like make a plan and God laughs. This is the major energy. And you just have to really act on your instincts and your intuition, and that's building all week. There could be some harmony on Tuesday between that. There could be some miracle, I don't know, something, miracle moment on Tuesday between your money and what's going on with work and how you're expanding there. Maybe again, you take action on something, go somewhere, call someone, and it leads you to some miraculous opportunity with money or with work that you could have not predicted or planned for. That's kind of the major energy on Tuesday. And as we get into Wednesday, the mental focus shifts from money onto, okay, what am I doing? What am I sharing? Um what am I talking about? What information am I putting out there? What am I creating? There's this sense of like, again, needing to act based on your instincts. I've been saying that a lot. Instincts and intuition, your instincts, as opposed to a plan. Um, and it's, you got to live presently in order for that, it will come when it comes. And you'll know why you had to wait when you know. Um, but there's a lot of activation and needing to like, I don't know, just really be disciplined with what you're doing, what you're creating, what you're sharing, in a way that is different than how you were going about it before. And there could be on Thursday a lot of identity level wounds around that coming up for you to shift. There could also be something emotionally challenging between your communication style or your belief systems that comes up and kind of challenges what's going on with work or what's going on with health. But again, it propels you to look at things differently, think outside of the box, and evolve what you need to change there in order to have a better experience with these areas of your life. That leads us into Friday. We have a new moon in Aries in your area of communication, how you're sharing ideas and information, also belief systems. So there's a big illumination and pivotal moment for identity level healing. Again, there's this sober kind of wake up call building as we get closer to the end of the week. That is identity level change. Do you want to keep moving forward in the way that you have been? Has that been serving you? No? Okay. So how do you want to move forward? And what do you need to put into place and take action on in order to do that? And shift your sense of self and your identity in a major way that's actually going to be more supportive for you, even if it's scary or unknown, right? And requires some bravery and courage. Later on Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your inner world, your home, family, and directly challenges what's changing about you. So there could be something emotionally that's challenging, something about your identity or your sense of self that has just completely shifted and transformed. And again, it's happening, it's challenging you so that you grow and evolve in these kind of maybe subtle ways that you need to in order to move forward. Saturday is really an integration day. There's not a whole lot going on. Um, there is a sort of activation between home and family and what's going on with work or health. But Sunday is the major day. Sunday, there's again more of a wake up call moment with what's going on in this new chapter that you're moving towards, how you're sharing ideas and information, what you're doing on a daily basis to move forward in this new chapter. And there's also on Sunday a sense of emotional breakthroughs with home or family, relationships, money related to all of that, played into all of that. Kind of like a further closing out of a chapter that, has felt a bit chaotic for the last 7 years or so. There's this sense of a wake up call with all of that. And again, are you really going to discipline yourself to either the repeating the old past that is comfortable but you hate it, or stepping into what's uncomfortable, um, even if it is a little scary, but ultimately it's going to be better for you. So there's a big moment of that as we end out the week. And yeah, stepping into the new is going to create a lot of positive inspiration and transformation. So, but that's more next week energy. We'll get into that next week. So, let me know how this resonates with you, and we'll talk next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on you. At the start of this week, you could really feel a sense of emotional renewal with what you're doing and how you're going about doing it. There's a lot of kind of things coming together with money, with resources, with your possessions, values, food, maybe even. But mostly like what you're doing with money, how you're making it, how you're structuring it. All kind of things related to money. There's identity level shifts occurring and building all week that solidify by the end of the week. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Tuesday, there's a lot of emotional harmony between what's going on with you, your identity, and what's going on with either dating, relationships, creativity, creative projects or inspiration. There's this sense of like emotional harmony between what you're doing and how you're doing it and moving differently, moving more in alignment with your intuition than the mind, right? And there's this instinctual kind of way that you're moving through life that's you're more integrating than ever before. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into your money. That's also where your mental focus has started to shift as well, is into your money and your resources. Although there's still some things that you're like, I don't know how I'm going to go about this, or I don't know how I'm going to do this. There's things building right behind the scenes energetically. And there's maybe some subtle things that you're getting or hints you're getting on how to go about it or what it will look like or whatever. But again, trust your instincts, trust your intuition, and really move with that, because that's everything. As we head into Thursday, the emotional drive you're feeling towards money or resources could directly challenge what's going on with creativity or romance dating again, and what's kind of been expanding about that for you. But it does propel you to look at things differently in order to grow and evolve both of these areas and how you handle them. There could be something coming up around, okay, if I make money this way, like I have to do this, or again, just I really feel like it's choosing to act more so from your intuition when it comes to how and when you make money, as opposed to uh like yes, structure is important, but it's not everything, right? So there could be a lot of creative inspiration coming in of like, even though things feel challenging, it's propelling you to evolve in ways that you need. And there's also a lot of identity level healing coming up around money, resources, and your self-worth and value on Thursday as well. So it kind of it triggers you, but it helps you to evolve and grow in ways that are needed to step into this new reality. That leads us into Friday. We have a new moon in Aries in your area of money, a lot of potential and opportunity for you to really, again, solidify in these identity level shifts to have a new beginning with your resources and money. As we get later into Friday after the new moon, the emotional focus shifts into your how you're sharing ideas, information, communication. And that could directly challenge what's changing about your inner world or your subconscious. There could be some sense of like, okay, but how do I go about this change? Or like what do I do? And again, you got to trust your intuition. You got to trust the inspiration when it comes, how it comes to share or create or do, based from an intuitive instinctual place. I just feel like I'm like repeating the same thing for you, Pisces, because it's really all like get out of your head and do what you're led to do when you're led to do it. And if there's not anything in the moment, like what do you need to take care of yourself to nurture that intuition or that instinctual knowing? And Saturday feels like a big day of that, feels like a big day of integration. There's activation with like communication and creative stuff. So you might be feeling a little bit more creatively inspired through integrating whatever has been coming up all week. And then Sunday's the big day. Sunday is the big day. Um, Expect emotional breakthroughs around communication, ideas, inspiration, and also a big wake-up call with money. And you might be feeling called to kind of share yourself or share ideas and information in a way that's different than how you would have in the past. And it kind of brings in more money for you. You got to be a little bit more bold. And that might be a way that you're shifting this identity level relationship with money and with your worth and with your value, is allowing yourself to be a little bit more outspoken or bold than you would have in the past. there's some come to Jesus moment, some wake up call moment around that. And feeling a little bit more fiery and acting on it and not suppressing it or holding it in. So yeah, that leads to a really big transformation at an inner level for you, Pisces. So that's your week ahead. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Oh, next week. Okay, so we're in Taurus season. We have Mercury and Mars moving together over Saturn. Um, it's really like it's really the energy of it's go time. Like, are you doing this or are you not doing this? Has the way that you've been living life been serving you? No. Oh, so what are you doing to change it? How are you sharing yourself differently? How are you sharing ideas differently? How are you speaking to yourself differently, in a more empowering way? How are you taking action that is, kind of requires you to have bravery or courage about it and not give weight to the fears? Like the shadow side of Neptune and Aries, is really giving more weight to fears than to your sense of bravery and courage. And that's this energy. It's like it's time. It's all here. Like, don't miss this moment. This is your moment. You can't miss this moment. We have Venus starting to get close to Uranus as they both move into Gemini. It's a big deal. This is a really big closing out of a chapter as it relates to our self-worth, our values, our relationship cycles, our cycles with money and possessions. How are we approaching all of that differently in order to support this new chapter, right? That is the major energy um of this next week, the week of the 20th. Uranus moves into Gemini on the 25th. We're gonna have the moon in Leo at the same time. Venus has just moved into Gemini. The moon in Leo is going to be harmonizing with everything in Aries. Again, really supporting us to take action and act on what brings us joy. And that is setting us up. That's setting the stage for Jupiter in Leo. Um, I saw this quote earlier today that was like, instead of focusing on how do I build this or how do I do that, like surround yourself with joy and pursue more of what you love. And then your life becomes that. You don't have to mental it. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to focus on what brings you joy. And a lot of us have some, healing to do in order to really that um trust that. But anyways, um that's the major energy of the upcoming week. It's kind of a foreshadowing of Jupiter and Leo. And like I said, all of these changes are taking hold. We're also going to have things start to square Jupiter again. So it's kind of a do or die moment. Um, yeah. I'll save the rest for next week's horoscope. So next week's video. As always, let me know how your horoscope resonated with you in the comments. Let's chat about it, and I will see you next week. Bye.